Я ніколи не питав його, що він робив до зустрічі зі мною. Навіщо? Мені вистачило, що Роб подарував мені те, чого я ніколи не мав – сім'ю та можливість піклування про когось. У мене навіть з'явився справжній день народження.
Роб, мій любий Роб, ти не уявляєш, який я вдячний тобі, що ти купив мене в ту п'ятницю. Та головний мій подарунок буде завтра. Завтра я подарую тобі океан.
Unnecessary Things by Dmytro Lisenbart from Ukraine. This was a very touching animation. I'm sure it was taken from a pre-existing story, but I don't want to refer to that. I think the animation stands out in itself as a very creative, experimental comment on humanity. The story is about the relationship between humans and robots in the future. So obviously there's a little tiny bit of a nod to such films as Blade Runner. But again, sticking right to the concept of unnecessary things, if the future is going into a place where robots have such an importance to a human life, and vice versa maybe, is that a good thing or is that a thing to be alert about? I think the creativity in this film is outstanding. From a story point of view, the emotions really spill out of the screen and come onto the audience. The emotions of an old man who is commenting on how useless he feels and how the robot is really helpful in kind of rejuvenating his feelings. So it makes you think about that relationship between the AI and the human and how that might change in the future compared to how we perceive that today in the present. But certainly a very, very creative animation that was done in a way that makes you feel there's a distortion, visual distortion in the characters, and you think, aside from the technological advances of the future, is there also a lack in personal health? The people that are depicting humans do not appear to be what we would describe as healthy, fresh human beings. There's an innate sense of they're giving in to something more overpowering, both psychologically and physically. So in that sense, there's a bit of a dark twist to the story. Nevertheless, it's an animation with colour, and it's vibrant, and it's got beautiful music, and it really transports you into this world, which is not Ukraine. It's a futuristic, dystopian future where you might think things are a little bit grimmer, but you also might think things as positive and inspiring, depending on where this relationship between humans and robots ends up going. So I think that's a subjective thing, and it can vary on different people. I find it touching that one of the elderly characters in this film has really lost hope, and the robot essentially brings that hope back. But then there's a mutual working of the relationship that develops, and the whole film is actually very short, around 15 minutes. So a very daring, lovely experiment, lovely concept. You can anyways take stories that have already been told, stories that may be famous, put your own twist on it and make it a completely fresh piece. I wasn't too familiar with the original story. Nevertheless, I took it as an original piece, and I was completely transported into this world. I had a mix of emotions that I was experiencing, and additional emotions for the fact that Dmytro might right now be displaced due to the Ukrainian crisis, and therefore we all have an outpouring of emotions for you, and obviously much gratitude for you submitting this film and giving this range of emotions to us, which is ultimately what I think films and film festivals are about. So onto the film, excellent execution, I think wonderful performances, vocal performances, great soundscape. Very interesting, bleak look at the future, but it could be bleak, it could be not, depending on who watches it and what interpretation they might get out of it. Once again, thank you very much for submitting. I hope this does good for you. I hope you, get through the current challenges in the most best way possible, in the most creative way possible. I hope you create more films, and thank you and congratulations for Unnecessary Things.